To Sri Lanka, where the financial crisis is only worsening, the country's gross foreign reserves dropped to $2.36 billion. According to data released by Sri Lanka's central bank, Sri Lanka had $3.13 billion in December 2021. This dip has come amid debt repayment and possible interventions. Sri Lanka got $400 million swap from India in January. India also repaid a $500 million sovereign bond. China in November replenished Sri Lanka's forex with a $1.5 billion equivalent renminbi swap. Sri Lanka also liquidated more gold in January recently. The central bank has been intervening heavily in forex markets, giving reserves for imports. Sri Lanka is facing a shortage of almost all essential commodities as depleting forex hit imports. The opposition leader slammed the Rajapaksa government over the economic crisis and demanded the central bank governor must detail the future course of action. The South Asian island was plunged into crisis after a series of rating downgrades following large tax cuts in 2019. Loss of tourism due to COVID-19 also hurt Sri Lanka's ability to tap global markets. The country owes almost $15 billion in bonds, according to the World Bank, and it needs to pay around $7 billion this year in interest and debt repayments. Our correspondent, Sonia Thoda, has sent us this report from Colombo. Take a look.
Sri Lanka's forex reserves fell by a further 24%, where official figures show that the current forex reserves in the island nation is just a little over $2 billion. We must keep in mind that this $2 billion includes a currency swap with China as well as a credit line that was extended by India. That's not all. Sri Lanka's gold reserves also appear to have fallen by more than half in comparison with the previous statistics. The question that remains among everyone is when will officials come forward and declare as to what exactly happened to this forex reserves and how best will the island nation overcome a burdening financial crisis. Reporting for We On World, this one from Colombo, and Sonia Thoda.
A leaked report commissioned by the Nepal government last September accuses China of encroaching into Nepal along the border that the two countries share. This is the first time there has been any official claim from Nepal of Chinese interference in its territory. The border between the two countries runs for nearly 1,400 kilometers, much of it located in hard-to-reach areas along the Himalayan mountains. On the ground, the boundary is demarcated by a chain of pillars, so it's hard to know where the border is located. The area has traditionally seen pilgrim visitors because of its proximity to Mount Kailash, which is just over the border in China and is a sacred site for both Hindus and Buddhists. The Nepalese government sent a task force to Humla after reports emerged of possible Chinese encroachment. The team consisted of representatives from both the police and the government. As reported by several media outlets, the Nepali contingent found that surveillance activities by Chinese security forces that had restricted religious activities in a place called Lalongjong. The Chinese embassy in Kathmandu denies reports of any land grabbing. It is unclear why the report has not yet been published, though one reason can be that the recently developed friendly ties Nepal shares with China, a counterbalance to its long-standing relationship with India. The findings of the report are likely to put pressure on these improved ties with Beijing. The investigators also found that local Nepalese people were often reluctant to talk about the border issues because some of them depend on access to Chinese markets across the border to make their living. The report recommended Nepali security forces be stationed in the area to guarantee security and suggests that Nepal and China should reactivate a dormant mechanism set up to resolve the border issues. Meanwhile, Nepal's Hindu Civic Society, the Rashtriya Ekta Abhiyan, handed over a memorandum to the United Nations alleging that China has encroached on Nepal's land in Humla and urged the international community to heed China's land grabbing and intervene on the issue. In fact, this follows similar developments in Bhutan. Satellite images released in January showed a worrying development by China in Bhutan's territory over the last year. Satellite images tweeted out by a leading satellite imagery expert showing alleged construction of Chinese villages in Bhutan's territory. Multiple villages are seen constructed over an area of 100 square kilometers. The disputed land lies near the Doklam Plateau, the location of an India-China face-off in 2017. Our correspondent Saloni Murarka is with us now on the broadcast from Kathmandu. Saloni, tell us more about what you are picking up on the reports of the China-Nepal border encroachment.
Of course, as per the initial findings, we can say that China has intensified its presence along the border and that there are some serious border issues that both of the countries share. According to the report, China has put up wires and fencing inside the Nepalese territory. And not only this, but they were also trying to build a canal and a road inside the Nepalese territory, which was later destroyed after the Nepalese police armed force raised their objections. In addition to all of this, the Chinese security have also been placing restrictions on the Nepalese people to practice any traditional or religious activities.
Right. Why has the report not been published? And has there been any reaction from the government and the Chinese side as the developments continue?
It is still unclear why the report has not yet been published. This report was submitted to the Home Ministry back in September, and post that none of the government entities have commented on it, and neither the government, Nepal government, has said anything official except for the denying the claims. And at the same time, the Chinese embassy here in Kathmandu on multiple occasions has dismissed the claims and has said that there is no border dispute between Nepal and China. Well, experts here believe that Nepal and both Nepal and China government are trying to place a false perspective on the border issues for people.
Right. Thanks very much for those updates, Saloni Murarka, getting us those inputs. Thanks very much. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.